In 2022, more people died in China than were born, making the start of a historic shift in the world's demographic makeup. The Chinese population peaked at 1.42 billion people in 2021, before starting its decline. The global population crossed 8 billion people in November 2022 and continues to rise. Still, experts predict the Chinese trend will spread, and the global population will soon follow. Predictions for when the number of humans alive will reach its maximum range between 9.7 and 10.9 billion people before it starts to decline with worrying consequences. With few babies being born and people living longer, the working age population is expected to decline significantly in the coming decades. This decline has started in much of the Western world. It poses a severe threat to the future of the world economy, as a smaller workforce may struggle to support an aging population and maintain economic growth. The working age population, typically defined as those between the ages of 15 and 64, plays a crucial role in driving economic growth and stability. This demographic group is responsible for producing and consuming goods and services, paying taxes, and supporting social welfare programs. However, as birth rates decline and life expectancies increase, the proportion of working-age individuals is expected to decrease, creating a demographic time bomb that could have severe implications for the global economy. This video will explore the causes and consequences of the declining working-age population, highlighting the potential impacts on economic growth, social welfare, and global stability. We will examine the demographic trends that are contributing to this phenomenon, as well as the strategies that governments and businesses are implementing to mitigate its effects. Through this exploration, we hope to provide a comprehensive understanding of the challenges and opportunities of the decline of the working-age population. But before we get into it, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe. We will cover some important and controversial topics on this channel, and your support will really help us with the algorithm. The world population is currently hovering around the 8 billion people mark. It is projected to continue to grow until around the middle of this century, reaching an estimated 9.7 billion people by 2050. But this in itself is a topic of much debate. While the UN predicts that the world population will reach 10.9 billion by 2100, researchers from the University of Washington have a different perspective. They argue that the global population will fall between 6.3 and 8.8 billion by the end of the century, which could actually be lower than the current population. However, what's even more concerning is that demographic trends indicate the age structure of the global population is shifting towards an older population, with a decline being seen particularly in the working age population. According to the United Nations, the global population aged 65 and over is expected to increase from 703 million in 2019 to 1.5 billion in 2050. The working age population, aged 25 to 64, is projected to decline from 5 billion in 2019 to 4.9 billion in 2050. This demographic shift is a result of several factors. However, the primary factor is aging demographics, where the number of elderly people is increasing while the number of young people is decreasing. This trend is happening due to declining fertility rates and rising life expectancy. As a result, fewer young people are entering the workforce, and more older people are leaving it. Developed countries are already facing a decline in their working age population. In Japan, for example, the proportion of the population aged 65 and over is currently around 28%. In comparison, the proportion of the working age population is about 60%. This has significant implications for economic growth and stability. A smaller working age population means a smaller pool of taxpayers and workers to support the economy, and the growing economic burden resulting from supporting the older proportion of the populace. Furthermore, this demographic shift is not limited to Japan. Countries like Italy, Germany, and South Korea face similar challenges. It is projected that by 2030, 1 in every 6 people in the world will be over the age of 65. And by 2050, this ratio will increase to 1 in every 4 people. As such, it is clear that the global population is rapidly aging, and this trend is expected to continue in the coming decades. A declining working age population can have significant economic consequences for a country or region. One major impact is the reduced tax base, which could lead to budget deficits and reduced public services. As more people leave the workforce and fewer people enter it, The government may struggle to generate enough revenue to fund essential services, such as healthcare, education, and infrastructure development. Another consequence of a declining working age population is decreased consumer spending. When the population ages, people tend to save more and spend less, particularly on big-ticket items like cars and houses, as they shift their focus towards retirement planning and healthcare expenses. This could lead to reduced demand for goods and services. Some regions and countries may be hit harder than others by the decline in work-age populations. Japan and Italy, for example, are already experiencing a reduction in their working-age populations. In contrast, in many developing countries with large populations of young people and healthy fertility rates, such as India and many African nations, the decline of the working-age population may be less significant of an issue in the near future. In terms of industries, some sectors may be disproportionately affected because they rely on a young workforce. For example, industries requiring physical labour, such as agriculture and construction, must adapt working practices. Meanwhile, sectors less reliant on a young workforce, such as technology and finance, may be less affected. However, in today's globalized world, the economic interdependence of nations and industries means that a slowdown in one country or sector can have ripple effects across the globe. At the global level, the decline of the working age population may have significant implications for international trade, immigration policies, and the distribution of wealth. As certain regions and countries face labour shortages, they may need to rely more heavily on trade and immigration to fill gaps in their workforce. This could lead to shifts in global economic power and changes in how goods and services are produced and distributed. So, how are countries trying to mitigate the future consequences of this? As countries grapple with a demographic tipping point and the resulting decline in the working age population, governments and organisations are implementing policies and strategies to address this issue. One approach is to increase birth rates by incentivising families to have more children. For example, the Hungarian government has taken a proactive approach to encourage more babies, including tax breaks and interest-free loans for families with 3 or more children, and mothers who give birth before turning 30 are also exempt from paying personal income tax. The government provides up to 3 years of paid maternity benefits and covers the cost of in vitro fertilization treatments. These policies have contributed to a baby boom in Hungary, with births increasing by 5.5% in 2022 compared to the previous year. South Korea has taken several steps to address this problem with varying degrees of success. The government has expanded parental leave and childcare services, reduced working hours for expecting women, encouraged more equitable sharing of childcare duties between spouses, and provided more employment services tailored to women. However, a recent proposal to increase the maximum work week from 52 to 69 hours faced intense backlash from younger Koreans, who fear this will lead to even more overwork and a lack of work-life balance. South Korea's president has since announced that the government is reconsidering this plan. It remains to be seen how these measures will affect the productivity of the working-age population and the birth rate in the country. Still, the government's efforts to reduce the cost of childcare and promote better work-life balance are certainly steps in the right direction. Another national strategy is to attract skilled workers from other countries. This can be achieved through policies that streamline the immigration process and support new immigrants to integrate into the local community. For example, Canada's express entry system prioritizes immigrants with high levels of education and work experience while providing language training and job search assistance. Canada's express entry system has attracted nearly 110,000 skilled workers to the country in its first 4 years of implementation. It has been praised for its efficiency and transparency. However, there are also challenges and limitations to the express entry system and other policies addressing the demographic decline. Some critics argue that the system favours certain types of skilled workers over others, and that the emphasis on English and French language proficiency may disadvantage non-native speakers. Additionally, there are concerns about the impact of immigration on job competition and wages for Canadian workers. There are also examples of policies and strategies implemented in different countries having a significant impact. For instance, Singapore has implemented a multi-pronged approach to address the demographic decline, including increasing the retirement age, providing incentives for companies to hire older workers, and investing in training and education programs to upskill workers in the older age demographic. As a result, the labour force participation rate of Singaporeans aged 55 to 64 has increased significantly in recent years. That said, raising the retirement age certainly won't go unnoticed by a country's population. The current situation in France indicates what reaction can happen with this type of policy. The pension reforms proposed by Macron, including raising the retirement age from 62 to 64, triggered massive protests and strikes across France, with trade unions, workers and students taking to the streets for several weeks, leading to clashes with police, transport disruptions, massive waste build-ups and economic losses. While there is no one-size-fits-all solution to address the working age demographic decline, governments and organisations are taking proactive steps to mitigate its impact. By adopting a range of policies and strategies, countries can address the immediate labour market challenges and build a stronger and more resilient workforce for the future, whilst filling the economic gaps left by the decreased working age population. As these populations age and working age populations decline, many experts are looking particularly to technology to help mitigate the effects of labour shortages. One area of technology that holds particular promise is artificial intelligence, or AI. AI has the potential to enhance productivity and efficiency in industries with a shortage of workers, thus enabling companies and countries to continue to grow and expand despite a shrinking labour force. One industry that has already begun to use AI in this way is agriculture. With fewer young people interested in farming, the industry has struggled to keep up with demand. AI-powered machines and robots can help farmers plant and harvest crops, increasing productivity and efficiency. Another industry that has been impacted by a declining workforce is healthcare. AI is already helping healthcare providers diagnose and treat patients more efficiently, freeing time for doctors and nurses to focus on more complex cases. The potential benefits of increased reliance on AI in the workforce are significant. Companies can improve efficiency, reduce costs, and increase productivity by automating routine tasks. In addition, AI can help companies stay competitive in a global market where other countries are also experiencing demographic challenges. AI can also improve safety in industries such as manufacturing and transportation, reducing the risk of accidents caused by human error. As AI becomes more advanced, it can replace disappearing workers in a broader range of jobs. However, there are also potential drawbacks to increased reliance on AI, particularly for low-skilled workers who could lose out, leading to widening income inequality. As populations shrink and age, education and equal access to opportunities will become critical to maintaining global growth and prosperity.